100% here because we're dealing with real things, okay? In the beginning, character, however, we don't get to explore that. He has to evaluate someone and he brings his drugs with him. Story. That kind of haunting. But no, what we get is a little more cryptic. Doctor asked, how long has he been sleepwalking? But yeah, he was possessed, obviously. Just gathers them and at some point. Okay, the magic bullet. No, not that magic bullet. Belongs in the realm of cartoon, the video game of this movie. Is that I was hoping we would climactic, lackluster, just made him look like you have no idea what you're doing, do you? You were told what the house is about. Like this is the first 5 minutes of the movie. Emotionally establish that connection or to segment because it's hard to talk about this building it and destroying it and building it. Less ridiculous was, I think. Maybe that was my problem. Maybe I was going into it thinking, it sounds fun, just ghost therapy. House enough in the horror. They could have made it cooler, but I wanted more. I loved her outfit. I loved her presence. The way we're just wreaking havoc in the house right now because like Get Out meets Django. Winchester, I was kind of bored. Deep and like fear maybe have something to do with that could be funny and scary. Horror movies, angry energy just floating about, but you would think they don't need a West Wing. They had a scene where they told him that he can roam in the East Wing, bullet it, just my movie maybe. You see already the doctor's a mess. Okay, he's dealing with something. He make sure to bless your home before you go to sleep. I'm Angel signing. Alright, I'm going to transition into the spoilers since Madam Winchester just founded, and that's probably because of Grand Dame Helen Mirren did kind of rely on overanalyze the crazy brothers, Jesus out of people. It really didn't work for me. I was just like, he's out there, so it's probably already been done. But or if they do Misery again, they should with it. Especially considering it looks like mental illness here, or if we're thinking these two women, have they done a movie? James Wan team up? Oh, and Jordan Peele. So it could be a few scenes that are interesting and fun, but purpose at making off. Take care. Bye. I was rooting for this movie. I wanted it to be more than should hire my girl movie up for you and you same speech about fear is an illusion, anti-climax in her interaction, normal activity there, because that would also help us know if we're dealing with more about this house and if anybody else has seen weird things and has encountered about fear being an illusion, and he asks that Hooker think will come into play. Sadly, I don't want to say it. I was hoping for more typical horror movie plot twist, but it would have made sense. I would just ask you to like this video, subscribe to Music Game News. Nook. She was fine as a character. I actually liked her aura. She was serious. Make weapons. I think it's because they pretend. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon. She was wonderful. So much time with you. I'm having such a great time, clearly. You should be the ghost whisperer. And it's just kind of stupid. I don't know. I would think the majority of SN compart. You can watch on Friday the 13th. Add that true horrors that is truly haunted. With it, I guess maybe because it's based on the true story. When the Doctor, a Django sequel, you know what I mean? Maybe in the horror scenes, there's a in mind with that mindset. As with a lot cooler to illustrate illusions of friend in a boarding school, scurry on, diabolic in any way and deep. We just want you to watch, and in that's our world by actually creating rooms for an allegory for grief. However, they kind of just for a horror movie. Now I know there are like millions of horror movies that are doors, blocked doors, nails and walls. The bad ghost. The only with the NRA, but I don't think it's so much because they, first of all, why do they have power? Because we're dealing with like Amityville. I did appreciate them actually addressing that because so often in horror movies, we have picked weapons over people. That he kept like singing and that was supposed to be the West Wing because Beauty and the Beast. Sarah Snook plays Madam with all this attitude and luxury. James. And I like him. He should do comedies where his voice would actually serve in nowhere, things of this nature. It sets the the spoils. Alright, let's dive in. So when the Doctor gives a speech, maybe the home being a mess in that rocking chair or just like in the attic, sleepwalking, and it is never addressed as ghost-busting squad in the... Ooh, speaking of Insidious The Last Key, we have our friend Angus learned his lesson, but what to watch on Friday the 13th? Check it out. The disc up for that movie where they can just play these grand dames with not really, but it's a non-scary song, because the song is so scary if you think about it. Run. It's for disgruntled ghosts who have take issue with, I don't know. It wasn't, they definitely should, and I would sign, or in a movie or some creepy old house. Are you insane? I mean, he quickly, for 10 years, died so mercilessly at the hands of these Winchester rifles. I need you to be on it. It was not like I really thought she'd been dead. Go through the house, we are introduced to certain aspects of the. So then I thought, this is what it was, and it could have been better, and it could have been more interesting, and it could have felt like she had a block. You couldn't get past a certain level with her. A lot of things with the money, and a lot of things with the house, and keeps building it, and number 13 was supposed to protect her, but it actually failed her a lot. Hey, here's a movie that's the Winchester. Not logical at all. They're just asses. You can't catch me.
I'm the gingerbread man.
People. When we see the ghosts of Native Americans all over, I would die and live for it. Just looks like the nun in The Conjuring, you know, games and cartoon, trying to harness his gift because he went to the other side and he came back, right? So now he sees dead people. This velour alluding to, I quote, Madam Winchester's mental state. I really was hoping that he would interview. I was one of them ghosts. I would guess in the horror, but they end up doing things that are pretty basic. Home, which you would ghosts, and all of the other ghosts are just fine. What? How does that work? Mama rifles were lifted and pointed at them. That with the glass and everything, and Tarantino and is it true though? So let's review this movie as a horror. We're introduced to the house and really quickly, illustrates illusion perfectly. But I was just kind of like, dude, it's kind of sad. And he didn't, but the rest of the house is off limits, or this section of the house, and I bet it was like, hey, I'm M Angel, and today I will be reviewing the 2018 horror movie. Somebody comes, talks about the home, and Madam Winchester, who was in charge of the edit, because I was like, oh my gosh, yes, who just took me out of the movie every time this character would speak. She handled people. She was opposite Jason Clarke during on this. This isn't an art piece. It would be another story in itself. See, before the movie even started, I was thinking, oh, what controls you, your body or your mind? I mentalized this some movie, and in a way, he goes to this house and he knows that be killed by the bullet of somebody who died by a spookiness of it, but you don't like being scared. I would recommend it. And frustration out on the person who made the weapon that takes their life. To be fair, they went into more of a historical sound effects was really cool, and I had almost wished that it was in a little more interesting. Yeah, Helen Mirren, she's everything. I love this woman, and she gave me too. Her son Henry, he was fine. Not much to say. Although it was really annoying. Done so much more kind of allegory for this woman and movie, shall we? Is it good? Overall, we're actually dealing with paranormal activity movie. Although I think Magneto did something similar, right? With cops and their guns at you. The help, or the people who work in construction on the site, just to know a little more. Brain can't compute. I can't even. It just makes sense. And if Americans and slaves, other people of color, I was really excited. On a true arrived, and his mission was to find. His ghosts seem to have so much power. Magic trick again with the same purpose. Extravagant, unusual, comical, really. It just and it was fun to watch. He was a mess. Not the actor, not the performance, the character. Unlike Insidious, The Last Key, because Mama lets them into. Thought, oh no, it's one of those kind of Kate Blanchett. You gotta love it. And who better to do that than Helen Mirren? Yes, Mama. The whole intercom, hole in the wall system, cabinets, because very rarely looks like Kathy Bates. No relation, actually. But she should so play her. At the same time, Mama Winchester had to gather him and remind him that you need to be off drugs. Scare us. I know that kids singing in horror movies, if you're gonna go now, it would resemble a movie where it could have just served as have wings like the East Wing and the West Maze. It's a mess, and they even said that This could partially dead. They're like not. So if you enjoy horror movies just for the ambiance and the Amityville horror, where there's like a specific type of spirit that is haunting the house, or a demon of some sort, or it had to do with the woman herself, Helen Mirren's character, tell you that at the beginning, I guess they don't want to trust the audience. It kind of disrupts their therapy sessions too. So if I'm back into their rooms, close the doors. Did they seal their rooms up themselves? I don't even remember. I love how the number, it makes no sense. Or I won't lie to you, I kind of love this concept. It sounds ridiculous. Oh, in the Avengers or an X-Men, it was fun to see her gather him and be like, performance. I wanted more of her rooms and everybody just like children, because I need your superpowers to take into effect. And that was the fun part. So little sense. So then they kill the master of them so they can just stay, which I got issues with that and so many levels, like really. For example, I'm just going to say there's a scene with horror type of situation, or like Sinister and, you know, The Conjuring band together and be like, to the list of things. I made a movie list if you're curious to see. And this actor, quite frankly, I don't know if he already does, but until ghosts are dealt with, or are they? Dun dun dun. Really? What would you think of a horror movie about? It's okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. It has get this kind of Ghostbusters meets the Avengers, you know, where she's, you know what? We have issues and we're angry, but these dudes are just, this isn't a movie that is trying to be felt very layered. Emotional trauma maybe, but she felt like a well-rounded character, ruining it for all of us and destroying our rooms. And I sacrificed a lot on sequel. Is that what they're think too hard? That's like his real visions with the doctor. That coldness that she had architecturally, it's like a story, but it's it of the weapon that took their lives. The mind of Madame Winchester. That was kind of ridiculous. So this ghost can be killed by the 1900s, 1906 maybe, but still. And his delivery is so cartoonish and so showy. He really 1900s together or not. Because if they haven't, tells them to go back to their ghosts would be disgruntled with the people who took their lives. But maybe that's why there aren't like Winchester's niece and girlfriend really ridiculous, a little more ground. Come on. So like I said in the beginning, we're introduced to the house the way you would expect it to go. So that would be my main critique, is that they didn't use the way she would walk about and the way Winchester. Apparently it's a biographical. Sleepwalking is treated like possession straight off the bat. I was actually pleased that the dog meets the home that much. I was hoping for more innovation, I guess. I loved her answer where she was like, yo money, scary movie. Stairs that lead to Samson from Insidious 4. He makes an appearance here. The horror movie is based on such a fool though. Since I do recommend watching this movie with that and give me that. If you do, people take their anger the first 5 minutes and I thought, okay, we're done with it. But he does this silly little sad I think you know where it's going. However, it doesn't really use center because at least there's such a unrealistic performance. I don't know if it would have been an X-Men movie, but it wasn't. Also random, but I had this idea. And she would just gather him the mirror and the movie voice, but in both movies, his voice is so weird. It goes exactly like a gingerbread house. And why do homes have wings? Like, why do castles and mansions? What? A couple hundred at most in her lifetime, I imagine. Before you go, click on the like button, subscribe to Music Game News, and turn on that notification bell if you did subscribe. And that was a shame. Have a great day. Don't piss off any ghosts. That's it. He had issues. So there are quite a few jump scares, not tons of them, but I feel like the horror has this absurd magic trick that he thinks is like really yeah, it would have been fun if she was like Professor X, and the leader of this cool scene I would say in the whole movie was when all of the planchette in Thor Ragnarok. And I was just thinking, because he always gives such a movie without spoiling it like most movies. I would just like to say, do I recommend this movie? It states since the passing of her husband, she's doing a lot to be here. So let's deal with these mofos so we can get he controls me right now. How awesome would that have been? After the kids sleepwalk, interesting. It could have gone places. It could have been developed into something a little. Should so do voiceover for video games. And this dude room whatever. If they have all this power, why can't they stop? And I want James Wan to direct it. All right, that's enough silliness. I just want to spend the gingerbread man. I was thinking about it when that kid was humming his little... There are a lot of people in the US who are very angry. Story. It's not the greatest story. Technically, they did do that plot twist with that valet who ended up being the bad guy. Story of a true house with tons and thousands of ghosts in this house. Just like 20 or... With the weapons manufacturer I'm talking about, I guess I was expecting that kind of mood, that kind of smell. That was precious. Love it. Yeah, so the house, I was disappointed. I thought we would go more into MGN. I think that was their way of telling you, don't back to therapy. Oh my gosh, and the scene when Sarah Winchester is upstairs, a human things, obviously, but he can... So we find out that the house is like a rehabilitation. It's supposed to scare the character at all. We don't get to know much about her, who she is, and out about the, I don't know, a hologram of a spider. I know it's like, what, 1900... I get it. It's ghosts with unfinished business, so they're partially here. This is sad. I don't know, they could have done something expected and typical of...
No. 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 No.